Om 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 Sahanavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकचक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः चिन्मयं व्यापित्यत सर्वं त्रिलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुवन्ति दैवैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तनविदुसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्य मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुच. With this we will go in a short cooling meditation, and after that we will begin the Gita. I think this will take about 2 to 3 minutes. Om. 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 Last time we touched stanza number 7, but we didn't elaborate on that. I said in the remark that this is a megaton of potency in the stanza. There was similar stanza in chapter 2, if you remember. Raga dvesha viyuktaihi. Stanza number 68 in chapter 2. Raga dvesha viyuktaihi. Indriyas charan. That stanza had similar potency, however, this is having a little bit, not a little bit, but a whole lot of more potency, and I want to go over it a little bit. There are 5 names here, first of all, with the verb in Atmane Pad Lipyate. It is not T, so it is not Parasmai Pad, Atmane Pad. We have not seen that Atmane Pad for the Sanskrit friends. These 5 names are in the nominative of the declension table. And so they are in control. They are in the Maharaja's chair. They have the potency. The verb indicates, because of Atmanepad, that it is a passive voice. And why did he choose passive voice? That is an amazing thing. We understand the meaning of the stanza. However, there is some beauty in the stanza which we do not want to miss. And with that purpose, I'm going a little bit deeper in this before giving the meaning of the stanza. Yoga yukta vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha. And one more, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. These 5 names are in nominative now. You can check that out. Yoga Yukta, that is Ekvachan in nominative. Similarly, all the others, Vishuddhatma, they are from, like Vishuddh Atman is the raw name. Atman, An. An is the ending of the noun. And Vishuddhatma is again nominative singular. Vijitatma also, Jitendriya also, and Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma also. Lipyate means lip is a crude dhatu of 6 gana, chattagana. And amazingly, this dhatu is both Parasmaipad and Atmanepad, whatever you want to choose. So parasmay pad would be lipami lipavaha lipamaha lipasi lipataha lipata lipati lipataha lipanti. And Atmanepad have different affixes. Affixes are the end terminals. The terminals would be I vahe mahe se ite dve te ite ante. And then the internal other spice, the infix material, would be the same as parasmaipad. Only the affixes are different. So the way it will be pronounced now is lipe lipavahe lipamahe lipase lipate lipete, etc. So it's different. But now this all the five guys are in the nominative, and it is in passive voice. Let me give you an elementary example of the active and passive voice. Aham vadami, that is active voice. The passive would be maya uchyate. Maya. So the guy who was in nominative is now in the instrumental, the third row in the declension table. So similarly, these five guys in the stanza are in nominative. Who is doing that kriyapad kriya lipyate then? We don't see that guy here. Na lipyate. Who is not lipyate? That phrase is there, karmani. No, karmebhyah, not karmani yet. Karmebhyah na lipyate. By the actions not tinted. These five guys are not tinted, not smudge. Lip means daga padva, lita padva. That is lip. So these five guys ne daga padta nathi. But who is the daga padnar? Karma bihi. So let's try to take this karma bihi into the nominative case and see what happened to those five guys. And then what happened to the stanza. We need to understand this part to understand the beauty of the stanza. So I'm converting this thing. From karma bihi, it becomes karmani in the nominative. The actions, now it became nominative, it became subject. So all those five subjects will become something else. I'm converting them. Yoga yuktam, vishuddhatmanam, vijit atmanam, jitendriyam, sarva bhutatma bhutatman. They came in the second row, accusative, in karma. Instead of karta, they became karma now. Instead of subject, they became object. Because that karma bihi, by the actions that became karmani, subject. So according to this new structure then, the translation would be યોગયુક્ત ને, વિશુદ્ધાત્મા ને, વિજિતાત્મા ને, જીતેન્દ્રિય ને, સર્વભૂતાત્મા ભૂતાત્મા ને, કર્મો ડાગા પાડતા નથી. Okay. See the difference in two versions? In the first versions, the five guys are in chair. They are in command. They are in driver's seat. They have the emphasis. And that is what in the narrative was emphasis. That we don't want to reduce the weight of those five guys. So that is why they are in passive voice. I hope you understand all this. The meaning of the stanza is, I said megaton because no matter what you will do all day, no matter, if you are one of these five guys, actually these five guys are like ghosts of each other. They are the same one guy, Brahmalin. There is a single name there. One who has got the truth of this Advaita. That is the sole message of the Gita. Non-dual. Who can hit who? Who can curse who? Then there is only one entity. And that is the sole message of the Gita. There is nobody else except the Advaita. One thing. If that truth is perceived, then kurvan api na lipyate. Kurvan. Kurvan is actually kurvat. Present participle. Karta. The meaning is doing. For example, if you say gachat, means jata, means going. So it is a continuous action going on. Kurvan api na lipyate. Oh, those five guys. I would stop right here and close my Gita. I got everything that I wanted to learn. I would just mumble in my head, Kurvan api na lipyate. ગમે તે કરો, કોઈ ડાગા પાડી શકતું નથી. So that is why I had a somewhat a lot of emphasis. Another beauty of the five guys, the way they are written, they appear to be compounds. Vijit Atma. There are two words, Vijit and Atma. Vishuddhatma, there is Vishuddha and Atma. Yoga and Yukta. Compounds, but no sandhi is there. That's why they are samas. And all five guys are bahuvrihi samas. Bahuvrihi. That is the name of the samas. How would you explain that in Sanskrit? Sarva bhutatmani tishtaha yaha bhutatma saha. That is how it is bahuvrihi. જે ભૂતાત્મા સર્વભૂતાત્માની અંદર છે Yah, J, Sah, Te. That is why it is Yah Saha is Bahurihi. I think enough about our grammar business. I will move on. Here on 8 and 9 combined, there is another tons of explanation coming. Somebody may think like, oh, Kurvan api. What Kurvan? What kind of activities are included in Kurvan? That is what in 8 and 9 you will be amused. Second line and the first line, the second line of stanza 8 and first line of stanza 9, they have long, mile-long sandhi. If somebody can do, they are great in sandhi, I would say that. So let's see that. Na eva kinchit karomi. કંઈ કરતો જ નથી. Nothing doing. Na eva kinchit karomi iti yuktaha manyat tattvavit. This manyat is a potential form. You will see that in grammar thing later on. So let's see what he says. Na eva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyat tattvavit. This tattvavit phrase comes very often and we need to understand that. He says tattvavit. There is tad, and tad is a marvelous word. When we are backbiting somebody and that person is not in presence, we would use the phrase te, tad. But again with tad, there is tva. The meaning of that is tadpanu. And with તદપણું વાળો. હવે જોઈએ તદપણું એટલે શું? તદ એટલે he is the great giant, the lion, the ultimate. તદ જોઈલો નથી એટલે તદ જ કહેવું પડે. We have not seen him. So that is why he is tad. His name is like tad, or nobody, tad. But then there is twa. તેનામાં જે છે તે પણું. ઓહો, તેનામાં જે છે તે પણું હવે. અને વત એટલે તે પ્રોપર્ટી વાળો. What a meaning of this word, tattvavit. One who has known the truth. That is a simple translation of this. Tattvavit. What is Tattvavit going to believe himself? He says, Naeva kinchit karomi. હું તો કંઈ કરતો જ નથી. હું તો કંઈ કરતો જ નથી. લોકો જોઈને એમ કહે કે અરે ભાઈ આટલું બધું કરે છે ને. નો. ન એવ કિંચિત કરોમી. હું તો કંઈ કરતો નથી. એવું કોણ માની શકે? યુક્ત તત્વવિત. જેને સત્ય સમજાયેલું છે એ યુક્ત અને તત્વવિદ. તે માને એવું. હવે શું માને છે તેની ડિટેલ આવવાની બીજી લાઈનની અંદર. In the second line there is a detail here. Look at how the Sandhi would go. Pashyan. Pashyan again is a present participle, just like kurvan in the last stanza. Pashyan એટલે જોતો. Somebody seeing. Pashyan shrunuvan, listening. Prushan, touching. Jigran, ગંધ લેતો. ગચ્છન, જતો. સ્વપન, સપનું જોતો. શ્વસન, શ્વાસ લેતો. આહા. કુર્વન અપી ન કરોતિ. In that na kurvan, all these things are there, but we will see how, even though he's all doing all these things, but he is not doing anything. Second one, it continues. Pralap, speaking. Visrujan, going to bathroom, etc. Grunhan, holding. Unmission, आँख खोले, opening the eyes. Unmission, विपन्नन, અને આંખ બંધ કરે. Oh man, what a big list, all these things. And the point he is bringing in these ordinary things, if we believe that he is not doing all these things, how about the big things? Something he is maybe doing. No, he is not. આંખો બંધ નથી કરતો અને ખોલતો નથી, તે કાંથી કરવાનો? He cannot do that. One who is not opening and closing his eyes, he is not doing anything. Then how these things happen? Indriyani artheshu vartanta iti dharayan. અરે ભાઈ, એ તો સેન્સીસ કર્યા કરે એની મેળે. The senses, they are doing that. How is that? The Sankhya has clearly two parts. Small self, the Jiva, and the big, the infinite, Advaita. And the rest is all transitory part. And all these actions are happening in the transitory part. And by illusion, by moha, that little guy thinks, oh, I am doing. That is where the problem is. That is where the big problem. When the little guy will be closer to that big guy, all this illusory thinking will go away. That is the whole goal of the Gita, nothing else. That, hey, in the Sankhya, the two partitions, do anything according to the senses. Let them do. In the sleep, the eyes will be closed. Many things would be shut down. But still the real portion, the real part, the small guy and the big guy, they are intact, they are there. And when this clarity of the partition is understood, you are done. Nothing more to do. Brahmanyadhaya karmani. The Sandhi is Brahmani adhaya. Seventh vibhakti Brahmani adhaya. Having place. Having placed in the Brahman, Brahmani, in Brahman, Satmi Vibhakti. What are we placing in Brahmani now? Karmani. This thing came again from the previous stanza. Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. This is again and again. Wherever there are karmani, there is sangam tyaktva. No attachment. Lipyate nasa papen. This lipyate came again. Not tented. Again it is in passive voice. Papen. Active voice would be papaha lipyati. Now it is in passive voice, that is why it is lipyate. And how does it that unattachment, the non-leaping, happen? Padma patram iva ambasa. There are three phrases here. Padma patra, lotus petal, kamarnu pandadu. Eva, like kamarnu pandadu, like lotus petal. Ambasa, water. When the water sticks to the lotus petal, the drop of water does not stay there. It does not stick there. That is how he is giving an example. So the emphasis, the emphasis going since second chapter, third, and we are in the fourth one. No matter what you do, but if that is not Dipanthi, you are safe, you are in heaven. All the objectives of human life is attained. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalaihi indriyaihi api yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atmashuddhya. The first line has all the phrases in third vibhakti, instrumental. Kayena, by body, mansa, by mind, buddhya, by buddhi. Kevalaihi is adjective for indriyaihi, by the senses alone. See the adjective he puts here? By the senses alone. So whatever he does by kayena, manasa, buddhya, But there would be senses involved, and by senses alone, let it be done. Yoginah karma kurvanti. Yoginah, nominative plural of yogin. Yogin is a noun. Karma kurvanti. Kurvanti plural. Parasmai pad plural, third purush. Sangam tyaktva atma shuddhe. આત્માની શુદ્ધિને માટે ડિટેચ રહીને આ બધું કાયાથી, મનથી, બુદ્ધિથી, ઇન્દ્રિયથી બધા કર્મો કરતો હોય છે. પણ સંગમ ત્યક્તવા, નો એસોસિએશન, જસ્ટ ડુ ઇટ મેકેનિકલી. युक्तः कर्म फलम त्यक्त्वा शांतिमाप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम्. One who is, after renouncing the fruit of the action, performing the karma yoga, what happened to him? Shantimapnoti naishtikam. At the end, he is the one who gets the shanti, the peace. But what happened to the other person? Ayuktaha kamakarena phale saktaha nibadhyate. Ayuktaha kamakarena, propelled by the desire. Phale saktaha, is attached to the fruit. Who is attached to the fruit? Ayuktaha, who is not following the rules of how to perform the actions. Ayuktaha, not yukta. Not yukta in what? In yoga. So yoga yukta, there are two phrases, a yoga yukta and ayukta. They are opposite words. One is performing everything according to the laws of this karma yoga. The other one is propelled by the desire. The actions are tinted there. And that is where the binding occurs. Now here is a marvelous, beautiful stanza. That is my favorite of many years. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasya. બધા કર્મોનો મનથી ત્યાગ કરીને, after renouncing all the actions, aste sukham vashi. Aste is like after renouncing all this action, one who lives vashi in a very controlled fashion. And there is a comparison here. Navadvare pure dehi. Dehi is Atman. Nav dvarna nagarni andar. 9-gated palace. Can you imagine that? He's living in 9 gates. There is not one gate. 9 gated. What a royal person he is. nine-gated Pure Dehi. But what is there? He's living in the palace, but how is he living? ચિંતામાં પડેલો હશે અંદર ગોંધાઈને. Confined in this palace, is he worrisome? No, 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 no. Na eva kurvanna karayan. Oh, not doing anything and not propelling to do anything. કરતો નથી ને કરાવતો પણ નથી. What a marvelous things. There is a lot of tremendous potential. Now there is another thing. What is then the Supreme One doing here? For the soul, he says, oh, કરતો હોવા છતાં નથી કરતો. Even though he is doing, એ આંખ ખોલે બંધ કરે બધું કરે છે અને નથી કરતો. What is then the Supreme One doing? Let's see that. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः. ઈશ્વરે તો કઈ એવી એજન્સી ખોલેલી નથી, કર્તૃત્વમ, કે જે લોકો શું કરે છે તેની નોંધ રાખે. જુઓ તો ખરા, એ પાછો હું કરતો છે તે he is also not doing anything. Nobody is doing anything here. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः. The Supreme One has not created any agency to take note of all these actions. So who are doing the actions? Those who do not renounce the fruits of the actions, they are doing the actions. But those who are renouncing the fruit of the action, they are not doing anything. But again, whether somebody is doing or not doing, na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya sujati. પણ એને તો કઈ ડાયરી રાખેલી નથી, કોણ હું કરે કે નહીં કરે. લોકોને એક આદત પડેલી, અરે ઈશ્વર જોહે એક દાડો. બસ ઈશ્વર આવું જોવા હારું જ બેઠેલો હશે જ્યાં હશે ત્યાં. There are a lot of notions. That is why the people in the yoga, they don't speak much. There is nothing to speak. Na karma phala sanyogam svabhavah tu pravartate. And the fruit of the action, even the result of the karma to give the fruit, that also according to the swabhava, according to the prakriti. So all this phenomenon, the happening, appears as happening in the lower part because of deluded soul. What we gather from these 4-5 stanzas, in the lower, the second part, the transient part, This appears as if something is going on. In a reality, there is nothing going on. The more the person is closer to those two guys, the real one, lesser would be this scenario. Even though a lot of things happening, still they don't appear as if happening. That is why in the stanza of the Gita, Vyasena gratitam Purana Munina, the phrase is Advaitam Mrutavarshinim. That is the single most message. Advaita Amrut Varshinim. What a marvelous word, Varshinim. Varsat પાડી રહ્યો છે અદ્વૈતના અમૃતનો. અને આખી ગીતામાં અદ્વૈતનું અમૃત જ અહીંયા વરસાદ પડી રહ્યો છે. ન આદત્તે કસ્યચિત પાપમ ન ચ એનમ સુકૃતમ વિભોઃ અજ્ઞાનેન આવૃત જ્ઞાનમ તેન મુહ્યંતિ જંતવઃ. This is what we just said. The omnipresent does not take note of the merit or demerit of any. The first line. Second line is knowledge is veiled by ignorance and the mortals. Jantu means mortals. Jantavaha is a plural of jantu. The mortals are thereby deluded. We all live in that delusion except we follow the laws of Yoga Yukta. Gnanena tu tad agnanam yesham nashitam atmanaha. Now, there is again this good warning. If there is agnan, with the help of the gnanena tu, with the help of agnan, kill that, with the help of gnan, kill that agnan, atmanaha. જે અજ્ઞાન અંદર ભરાઈ ગયેલું છે, the અજ્ઞાન, kill that by gnan. Then what happens? Tesham adityavat જ્ઞાનમ પ્રકાશયતિ તત્પરમ. તદ, પાછું આવ્યું તદ. તદ પરમ. તેનું જે પરમ જે છે, અલ્ટિમેટ, તેનાથી તે પ્રકાશ છે. સૂર્યની જેમ, આદિત્ય એટલે સૂર્ય, સૂર્યની જેમ પ્રકાશ છે. So if this is the promise, hey, let's kind of get busy removing the agnan with the help of gnan, and we all then can shine with that aditya. I will just read stanza number 17 and I will stop there. And again, you can see there is a long sandhi here. It is a marvelous thing. Tad buddhayaha tad atmanaha tadnishtaha tatparayanaha. Look at how many tad. Gacchanti apunaravrutti nan nirdut kalmashaha. We will just stop right here. But again, there is a big promise here. The simple meaning of the stanza is like this: Tad buddhayaha, those who think on that. Tad atmanaha, merge in that. Tad nishtha, fixed in that. Tat parayana, that is their goal. What happened to them? Gachanti, they go. Where do they go? Apunaravrutti. The punaravrutti is taking birth and dying, birth and dying, birth and dying. There is no punaravrutti then. Nana nirdut kalmashaha. કારણ કે બધા જ પાપો સળગીને રાખ થઈ ગયેલા હશે. So this is also a marvelous stanza. This chapter is a very touchy and very enlightening. We will plan to like ponder over this kind of phrases to really get the knowledge of what he is saying. Remember, this is all science of physics for spirituality. You know, we go to school 20, 30 years, study a lot of things, got a lot of degrees and all that. But if we just think according to the qualities of that permanent part, the permanent part sees that this temporary part come and go, come and go, come and go. And if we see that, and if we see that permanent part, just as Swami Vivekananda said, just see him once through the crack, and you will be on that. You will move on. You will see. You will move on. And the entire Gita is putting tons and tons of efforts to turn us away from that temporary and go into the permanent part. We are all lucky that we have at least this 1 hour to chat together. And it is a sort of a rare phenomenon. I would stop here, and maybe about 7 to 10 minutes, maybe we will catch up with if anybody has need for clarification, please go on.
Hello, Saib.
Yes.
I have a question about this Advait. When we talk about Advait, the characteristics of Advait is infinite.
What characteristic?
Of Advait.
What characteristic you are trying to know?
Uh, okay. Basically, when we call him Advait means there is nothing else exists other than him, the Almighty.
You don't want to say there doesn't exist anything, that phrase also. You just want to say he alone exists.
Right, right. But my point is different. In him being infinite, being Advait, he cannot function in his Advait form, because in order to function, any entity will require some other space, and in Advait there is no space left. So if anytime Advait wants to function, do something, he has to come in a finite form, doesn't matter how big that finite form is.
This is such a question. It's a marvelous question, first of all. Since according to you, the Advait cannot function without having a second part in him or something. And since Advait only knows how he can do, because he's the only one there, therefore, the only answer one is qualified to give is the Advait himself. Because as soon as somebody gives the answer, that becomes Dvaita. And the Dvaita cannot describe Advaita. Do you see the point I'm making?
Yeah, my point was only that in Advait form he cannot function.
You may be looking for an answer from me, but when I open the mouth, there is Dvaita. And Dvaita has no ability to describe him. Only Advaita can do that. In order for you to understand the question, the answer, and I'm kind of challenging you, you first become Advaita. You get the answer. But then you get excited, for example, and say, oh, okay, let me come back as PJ. As soon as you become PJ, you are dual. And dual cannot talk. That is one of the reasons many times Buddha and Mahavir, whenever the questions were asked, oh, is he Sakar? And Mahavir used to nod his head, yes. Another person in the audience would ask, oh, but I have heard him Nirakar. And he would again nod. And the third person would ask, what is the right answer? And he would be quiet. And you are quiet too. Okay, the second question.
I had asked this question last time and I'm sort of repeating it because I'm still not clear about one thing. The previous chapter that we finished was Gnana Karma Sannyas Yoga. And this one is Karma Sannyas Yoga. And I'm not clear why these two are treated separately. I'm not clear why it is Jnana Karma Sannyas in one chapter and Karma Sannyas in the other one.
Yeah, one of the thing is one of the thing as we read and as we understand more and more and more, the volume of the chapters and number of stanzas and pages and different terminology and all that. Your question is similar to, oh, why did he use 5 phrases? Yoga yukta, then the second phrase and the third phrase, Vishuddhatma, Vijit Atma, Jitendriya. In order in order to move from totally blank from the spiritual business into some understanding, he has created many words, many chapters, many stanzas. All these things is summed up in one word, Advaita. You read in any chapter, and that is why in the beginning, my second lecture in September, I said that Tattvamasi, the first 6 chapter, Tad, then Tvam, and then Asi. But after you have these six, and six, and put them back together, it would have only one word instead of 3, Advaita. So it is his mercy that he is bringing so much verbose, so much language, so much of stanzas. For a beginner, that is confusion. But as you will repeatedly go on, repeatedly go on, repeatedly go on, repeatedly go on, I guarantee, and I have not the beard yet, but I can still do. You will have tons of miracles about Gita, not one. You will. Be patient.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think the title of the chapter, each stanza, each slok itself is a title. So my personal opinion, Sanat Bhai, that title is just for what we are reading to know that. Otherwise, why should we just get puzzled in the titles? We
Yeah,
go to the,
you have a good
sorry,
point.
I respect you. I don't want.
I agree. I respect what you said and I agree with it.
Very good. It's a good discussion is always bringing positivity in the thinking, and that is really good. Deepak Bhai is a literary person, and another characteristic he divinely possesses is he's spontaneous. So I thanks for that spontaneity. I will take one more question.
Amrit Bhai,
Yeah.
thank you for this lesson. And my thinking is that one section explains karma, doing karma without renouncing it. The other one is doing karma with renouncing.
Right.
So then the sannyas word applies to different contexts in both of the points that Sanat Bhai has made. The first one is Gyan, Karma, Sannyas. So that is the knowledge that you get, and then you are still doing the karma, but you don't get your attachment to that karma. That's one type of sannyas. But knowingly doing karma and not renouncing the fact that the doer is somebody else, I'm trying to convey the message, but I'm not able to correctly convey. But my thinking is that when you get the knowledge and wisdom, and yet you are doing the karma, that is like the yogis are doing. They're sannyas and still doing the karma.
The more you will ponder over as you increase your study, all these verbose differentiation, they will dissolve, they will melt. So just bear with this kind of zigzag and cool down your mind. Eventually,
Okay.
you will hear only one thing. Eventually, eventually,
Right.
eventually.
Thank you.
And I'm speaking years ago when more than 60 years ago, I was a kid. And one of my problem is I never go anywhere and ask somebody, uh, I would rather go in the corner. And whatever the question is, whatever the issue is, I like to resolve that myself. And believe me, 60, 65 years ago, I had many, 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 many questions. Today, I almost have, I'm not going to exaggerate. I'm simply not going to exaggerate, but except Shraddha, I have nothing left. And that is not what I'm talking about, faith. So this is a progressive phenomenon. Just keep the progress, please. Keep the progress and go on. And
Thank you.
the clarity will descend. I would say descend. And the meaning of descend means you are not generating that clarity. It will descend. From where? From everywhere.
Thank you. Thank you.
That enough?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Amritbhai.
Yeah. Keમ cho?
Cam Cho. I'm using Maya's phone, so that's why my name appears as Maya. But
Oh, yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, that's okay.
she's the,
You
she's
are
the one
one
that
people.
reminded me. I have one simple sentence in Hindi,
Yeah.
which I'm sure most people in this group have heard. Pertains to the earlier conversation about the titles and the wordings and everything. क्या जात न पूछो साधु की पूछ लीजिए ज्ञान मोल करो तलवार का पड़ा रहने दो म्यान. That is very pertinent here, I think. If you want, I mean, those people who don't understand Hindi words, I will be happy to translate.
So I think the way I see the audience, they all understand Hindi. So I think you did marvelous presentation.
Credit goes to Maya.
Very good.
Can you repeat the whole thing again, please?
Yeah, please repeat.
Tell her.
जात न पूछो
Sadhu.
साधु की पूछ लीजिए ज्ञान मोल करो तलवार का पड़ा रहन दो म्यान. Don't go by the outer appearance and titles and name and form. Go to the substance, the gyan. But I just want to add to the Shraddha part. Can I?
Sure.
One of the prayers, which I'm sure everybody does, but my favorite shloka to recite in the morning is Kayena vacha manasendriyaiva buddhyatmana va prakrte swabhavat karomi yat yat sakalam parasmai narayana yeti samarpayami. So that with that attitude, then whatever you do sort of becomes samarpan to him.
Fantastic. Thank you both.
Thank you, Amritbhai, for your leading this thing.
Yes. Okay, so I believe that will, with the ending prayer, we will close our session. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhave Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormam Mrutagamaya Om Purnamadaha Purnam Idam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Thank you all, and I may talk a little bit with the Sanskrit friends, so they may stay. But otherwise, I'm stopping the recording here, but keeping the screen alive.